I got some sweet goal setting tricks up my sleeve that'll really help you set some intentional goals for the year ahead. Hey, boutique owner and other e-commerce friends. Angela here, CEO of Hot Mess Consulting, and I'm talking to you today about setting goals for 2021. P.S. in advance, if you want to make sure you never miss a thing we have to share, make sure you subscribe to our channel and hit the bell to be notified when we post new videos. So a couple things I want to focus on today. First of all, the end of the year, start of the new year means it's always a good time to set goals. But also 2020 has been kind of a lot, so be compassionate with yourself. Anyway, stick with me here because I've got some sweet goal setting tricks up my sleeve that'll really help you set some intentional goals for the year ahead.
Okay, let's get into setting some intentional goals for 2021. And first of all, I always like to just start these conversations with if any of you are naysayers out there in terms of like, screw New Year's resolutions, I get it. But you know what? If once a year you're reminded to sit down and think about what you want for your future, lean into that. It's okay. We do need to sit down every once in a while, especially if we're business owners or have other big dreams on the horizon. We need to sit down and go over this. And if this is when you're reminded to do it, then so be it. But this year, I also, before I kind of dive into all of that, want to just take a minute and kind of shake it out. Like it has been a crazy year. I know that even just within my own team, like so much has gone on in terms of, loss. And I, just make sure that you're taking the time to honor what you've been through this year. Because it has not been easy for any of us. I know, my own issues with like having to come home while I was traveling internationally, and I would have still been traveling otherwise now. I mean that's super trivial compared to so many things that have been going on out there. And I'm really thankful that I've been able to continue to provide for my team through this company. Um, you know, during times when some people have not been able to work anymore. And if you're a business owner, that is a loss of income versus I know that some that were out from regular jobs at least got subsidized, but you know what? Like all the way around, like we have all been through a lot collectively in the world, and I think we just need to honor that too, and consider how strong we are, and kind of use that to say like, okay, well, 2021 is a new year. Like, what are we going to make of it, kind of thing. So the first two things I want you to do here is one is think about what you want for the future. Think about the last year and what you want the next year to be like, and dream big. Like put it out there. Whatever it is, don't worry about if you offend someone thinks you're crazy, you're afraid of even thinking the dream, because whatever like whatever you want, if you can't even write it down, share it with someone, put it into the universe, like it's definitely never going to happen. Like it needs to start with you owning that dream. There are several aspects, including my business, the home that I was just my first home purchase, like on my own. Um, even the world travel that I was just talking about. Like I never would have thought any of these things really were going to happen. They were things that I wanted, you know, but I never really sat down and said like, let's make this happen. Like, or I believe this can happen. So it needs to start there. Um, but also use this time to again reflect back and celebrate your wins. This can also help though with the whole mindset, because think about like what have you done in the last year or a few years that maybe you didn't think that you would have been able to do. And how can you use that to strengthen your mindset around what you're able to do, what your potential is, right? So, the next thing I want you to work on, I have a little exercise for you that we picked up. And so this is goal setting in a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 format. This is your 5 year goals, and it jumps to 4 months, 3 weeks, 2 days, and 1 hour. And let me explain why and dig into this. So, your 5 year goals. A year really isn't that much time, right? But 5 years is a lot of time. So think about how far you've come in 5 years. And if you feel like you haven't, don't worry. It's never too late to sit down, or should I say, wake up rather. My last 5 years has really been an amazing whirlwind that I mean, I've had struggles too, don't get me wrong, but I would say the 5 months prior, not a whole lot happened other than, because I wasn't chasing my dreams. I had kind of started to give up on them. And so basically, a crazy health condition kind of kicked me in the ass, literally. Long story, won't go there. But that is what kind of catapulted me into like digging into my dreams again. And oh, yeah, when I think about the last 5 years, that's pretty crazy. Um, but anyway, so much is possible in 5 years. So look forward. How can you use the next 5 years to get to where you ultimately want to be? Because I know that where you ultimately want to be might feel really far away from where you are right now. It might feel like a pipe dream. Um, but you really can, step by step, stone by stone, week by week, you can get there. But you have to start somewhere, right? So I would get out a piece of paper, and just kind of jot down where do you want to be in 5 years. Think about your career or your business. Think about your family and friends. Think about how you spend your time. Is particularly if you're a business owner, like what is your role and how many hours are you working? How much time are you able to take off to enjoy life? Yes, we still need to do that too. Um, so just get down all of those goals. And then what I want you to do is just pick one or two, because trying to attack too many more goals than that, trust me, is not a recipe for success. Pick one or two to really focus on, at least for this exercise. And I want to remind you about the CEO mindset and why that's so important here. So, particularly if you're a business owner, which you probably are if you're watching this, it's important for you to really back up and think about, like, why did you ultimately start this business? It's easy to get caught up in the weeds. And, even if you're doing really well revenue wise, and maybe you're even growing your team, but you're still, again, really deep in the weeds, working on things that maybe don't light you up, like the individual tasks themselves, or you don't have any time for the things that you love in your life, just to go hiking or spend time with your kids or whatever it is. So I want you to be really real and honest with yourself about what you really want out of your business, what you really want your role to look like, where you really want your business to go. Like, don't play it small. Step back, and imagine where you really could be. Because I think most of us start our business on some level because eventually we want to have a little bit more freedom. And you're never going to get to that point if you're constantly in the weeds. So I want you to really be honest about where you want to go. Um, so once you've chosen, one or two 5-year goals to focus on, at least for this exercise, then we're going to start with 4 months. Next, because you really want to break that big, hairy, scary goal into smaller, bite sized goals. And the idea is that your 4 month goal should move you towards your 5-year goal, but be something that's much more attainable that you can really take an action, make an action plan to meet. And one of the quotes we wanted to share with you guys was that most people overestimate what they can do in 1 year and underestimate what they can do in 10. So, what this means is, again, it's easy to make a really big, hairy, scary goal and say that I want to be there within 1 year. But, even if it's possible, and, just because we're saying this is a 5-year goal doesn't mean it's going to take you that long to hit it. But if you create a super unreasonable goal for yourself, like within a year or even shorter than that, then it can make it really hard for you to actually start to take action towards that goal because you don't even believe that it's attainable. But if you were, so like what I find with my own stuff is that, like, I'll set these goals, and like sometimes, it feels like it at the time, it feels like it takes a really long time, longer than I was anticipating, to make that thing happen. But then when I look back at it, I'm like, wait a minute though, look at all that we did this year. So you have to kind of think of it that way. So break down your goal into a smaller bite-sized goal. So for example, if you are okay, so say that one of your 5-year goals is to grow to a team of 30. If we're going to break that down into your first 4-month goal, say that your 4-month goal is to, and let's just say that you're starting with, you're a solopreneur right now. And within 5 years, you want to get to 30 employees, which means you also are going to need the revenue to make that happen, right? But let's just focus on the 30 employees. So, your 4-month goal could be to make your first official full-time hire. That's your 4-month goal. So from here to 4 months, you you have to figure out how to make that happen. Now you want to use your 3 weeks, 2 days, and 1 hour then to propel that forward. So if in 4 months you want to make your first hire, then at 3 weeks uh, from now, what you want to do is um, outline what that first employee is going to look like. And I would actually take it a step further, considering your 5-year goal is to actually have a team of 30. So I would start with outlining a dream organizational chart. So, start with yourself at the top as CEO, founder, whatever it is that you like. I like to call myself head dreamer just to keep it light, but whatever works for you. And then, just start to think about, all of the different hats that you wear. And, definitely first start with so for 3 weeks, I would say the goal would be to have an entire organizational chart mapped out, maybe not like as far as 5 years, but I mean, like a first draft of like your first 10 employees, let's say that could be a goal. Now, within 2 days, you want to have the title and job description ready for your first employee, right? So, what can you do within 1 hour then? Well, within 1 hour, you can sit down, write out all the different tasks and hats that you're wearing to start to figure out, who your first hire could and should be. Uh, yeah, I would write out a list of all of the different duties that you're doing and put stars next to maybe the things that you enjoy doing the most that you would still like to do. Um, Circle the things that you most want to outsource. And then within 2 days, really get that all together into a title and job description. And then within 3 weeks, get that into an organizational chart. And you could even have um, you know, titles and job descriptions figured out for everybody on that organizational chart. And I'll tell you what, this is exactly what I did with my business. Just over a year ago, we were a team of 5, and we're now a team of 18. And it blows my mind, honestly. When I first did my first dream organizational chart, I wrote out our current organizational chart, and then I was like, okay, well, considering the revenue that I want to get to, what is the team that I'm going to need in place at that point to make that happen? Now, obviously, it goes both ways. You need the revenue in order to hire the team, but it also, like, there's something to be said for, again, getting that organizational chart together. So in the last year, I've actually busted through 2 dream organizational charts. And with my team, I am about to work on our next dream organizational chart, sorry. And the exercise that I'm having my team do is kind of cool. So with these 18 team members now, we're actually split into like departments, and each department has a manager. So we are leadership, right? And I'm having each member of leadership, including myself, imagine that they had $150,000 of budget each year to work with to build their team, their specific department. And I told them to think outside of the box. This could be team members. These could be brand new positions. This could be restructuring the way that we even have your department laid out right now. It could be, new employees that are going to be involved in services or products or projects that aren't even something that we do currently. Like, think outside of the box. And this is because it's really important that at this point, it's important that we all do it together too. But anyway, we're working on our next dream organizational chart because we have really big goals for 2021. But that's just an example. So it's like think about your hairy, scary goal. Where do you want to be in 4 months? That's at least, and I'll tell you what, I know that like if you're wanting to hire 30 people within 5 years and you're like, well, I'm just going to hire one within 4 months, but that first hire is a big deal, and especially those first few, like you got to get going first. And you also have to get things off your plate, which this is a whole nother matter. But in order to have the time to focus on those things that are going to generate revenue and have the energy that you need to make the best business decisions and all of that stuff. So, okay. Now, when you have written this all out, this is your action plan. You literally have now laid out what you're going to do right now within the next hour, 2 days, 3 weeks. So, follow this. And this is a really great way to break down really any larger goal that seems daunting. Um, and here is why you also need to be making sure that you're fitting in goal reviews. And I would say, at least quarterly, you want to sit down and take a look at your goals again and see where you need to adjust. What are you doing right? What are you missing? And just make sure that everything is still aligned with what you truly want, that you're going in the right direction. Um, and if you can review more often, like monthly, that would be great as well. But, again, even if so you made your 4 month goal and maybe it actually takes you 6 or 7 months to actually bring that first hire on. That's okay. You haven't failed. You are moving in the right direction. And because that's all that we can really do is just keep going in the right direction. If you get flustered because you're not going to be able to hire, you're coming close to that 4 months, you're not going to be able to hire yet, and you give up, well, then it's really never going to happen, right? And one last thing for those of you that do have teams, I want to remind you to communicate your goals with your team. We have a monthly all team Zoom meeting along with several other different meetings that go on, like by department and all kinds of stuff. But once a month, we all get on a Zoom together and we go over department updates and make sure everybody's updated with all the latest things that are going on. And we actually go over our revenue and our goals and all of that. And today was kind of a big one because it's, our final meeting of the year. So much has happened this year. And, we shared our goals for 2021. And, I have just really enjoyed being really transparent with my team, but it really helps them be on the same page as you too. So remember to communicate your goals to your team. You don't have to be as transparent as we are. That part is really up to you. But it, you know, share with them as deeply as you are able to. And remember to look after them. They are why you are where you're at. They're a big part of that. And you really can't do these things alone. So we like to say over here that teamwork makes the dream work. And it is really totally true. So in closing, I want you to dream so big this year. Like, just don't hold back, I, I would not be anywhere I am right now if I didn't sit down and make these really scary goals that always feel far fetched at the time. Going over where we want to be in another year, I was literally crying at my team meeting. I'm a big baby too, so. But it just really is crazy how far that we've come. And I never would have even imagined that we've gotten this far. And so think about what is really possible and what you really want out of life.
So I hope you found this video useful for goal setting for 2021. Let me know in the comments because that helps me know where you guys are at. 2020 has been a difficult year for sure, but this 5-4-3-2-1 goal system is a really simple way to dream big and then figure out what steps you can take to make that dream into a plan. And again, if you love our stuff, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell to be notified when we post new videos. So happy 2021 and let's go do this. Need more? Check out the blog at hotmessblog.com. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel too. Cheers!